Hey friends, we're looking at the CaDA steamed bun shop. This is part of their Japanese street series, and this is set number 6606 with 1,180 pieces. The lights are on, and it's being powered by my own uh, battery box that does not come with it, but this USB all the way forward into the kit or into the set that comes with it. So we'll do a quick turnaround just to look at the exterior. It's a 2-floor steam bun shop. The bottom floor is kind of a restaurant area. It has a really cool vending machine build, and it has all these slats for the living space in the upper area. So you can see that the light is showing through for the living space. It has some detail for the bottom restaurant area and then stairs that go up. There are 2 mini splits on the outside, and then there's this really heavy duty ducting that's going out, and I'm guessing the restaurant really needs that ducting. I'm not sure, but it has that sort of Japanese above ground utilities feel to it. So that's why you see all of that electrical, and then the piping here. This is probably a gutter to take care of water coming off the roof, and you can see that there's a skylight. And yeah, let's go all the way around. This is the most plain side, but still really well done. Every side is very nice. It even has a pipe right here still too. And then 2 lights. They don't actually light up, but they are hanging out right above the eating area. So let's shut off the light. You can see kind of the difference. What should I do? I will go over here. We'll do this. So that's with the lights on. And let's actually turn off the room lights so you can see the lights. There we go. There's that window all the way around. Really nice. I really do like the way that they've done the stairs and the lights that work there. All right, and then let's shut off that light so you can see the difference without it. You know, that's where everything is. The light is actually just a string that winds its way throughout. All right, and then let's take a closer look. All right, so while this does come with a lighting kit, you get this USB plug, and you can plug it into wall power, or in my case, I have a small battery box. And it's actually a string light that just winds itself through. And unfortunately, it is probably closer to like a holiday string light set. So you actually have to press several times before it'll get to a light sequence that's just steady on. So you're seeing that it's cycling through all of these more appropriate to like holiday string lights, you know, a lot of different styles of flashing. And it's the very last setting that leaves it on steady. And that's kind of what you want, right, if you're displaying it. And unfortunately, when you disconnect power and then plug it back in, you have to cycle all the way through again. It doesn't remember the last state. So that's kind of unfortunate. It's a little bit of a miss, but still they did a great job lighting it despite that, the use of that particular type of lighting. All right, so let's start at the bottom here. You see some signage, and there's an upper signage, and then these fabric curtains. I believe they're called Noren. So they're a bunch of them, and one of them here has a dumpling on it. It also has an A-frame sign for the dumplings themselves, and it's a cool little build, and it's clipped in place. I love it when they do that. They clip stuff in place, and then you don't have to worry about it shifting and falling out. And they have 3 stools. They're all identical builds, but they're unique. I mean, they feel like something you'd find in a Japanese restaurant. So they're just elegant black wood with probably a little pad on it. And there's this street like no entry. Maybe it's just to make sure you don't accidentally park here, maybe. Some kind of a protective bar that's out there on the sidewalk too. And there is a tiny little tree build, and I really like the build they had for the pot. So it's using a couple of circular pieces and then a wheel piece, and I've never seen them assemble quite that way before, but it makes for a really modern looking pot. Pretty good job there. And we're going to peek inside this counter too. So I'm going to lift it up just so you can get a better view. So in there, you'll see that there are buns. And let's get these kind of moved out of the way, up a little bit. So you can see there are two display cases. Sorry about the flickering there. I think it's also the lighting happening. There's the steam buns there. And in the back, you can see the bamboo steamers that the buns come in. So display cases, steamers, and then the back of the stairs. You can see there. All right, and let's put those back down. I really liked the build for this upper sign here. It's completely framed in and tiled in. And then the actual sign portion is recessed just a little, so you can see it's inset a little bit. I've never built something like that before. When I was done, it looks so good. It doesn't look like it's built out of, or it's possible to build it out of Lego, so they did a great job. Since we're here, let's look at the mini split. Pretty good one. Lego and Ninjago City, they've been using this particular piece to help create mini splits for a while, but they're always built in and attached to the wall. But mini splits they're not always attached to the wall. Typically they're separated from the wall by a few inches. And so they've actually created a little platform using one of these fence pieces so that it's sitting on there and it's separate from the structure, which is a little bit more authentic, I think. All right, and then looking down here, you see these trans blue window or canopy pieces. Those are perfect. I can imagine them using those, and they get dirty over time, and they're just a cheap, simple way to create a covering. So I think that's really cool. Looking at the vending machine, I really like this vending machine because they've actually got several bottles in there. They're clear, and you have your own stickers, one per. And then notice there's like these indicators on there, and you intentionally leave out one because one has been purchased. And notice it's red instead of all the others are gray and black. That one's red and black. So it might be a way of indicating, hey, that one's not available. You can't buy that one. And it has a little bit like a coin exchange thing. Here's where, I'm not sure what this part would be. Maybe that's where it drops out. And I'm not sure what this is either. So one of these is probably where the can drops down. And this is probably where the change is. And this is maybe some sort of a selector button. So pretty cool. All right. And then we've got some sort of again, another sign, like a do not sign on the side of it. And it says Fuji. And all of the bottles in there also say Fuji on them. It has this utility. I'm not sure what that is. It could be maybe a trash can or something like that. The instructions tell you to feed the wire through it. So that's what I did. It might have been, yeah, it's a little strange that they had me do that, but I went ahead and did that. It probably keeps it from getting yanked out, just that little bit of extra resistance. And we'll keep going around the bottom floor here. So you'll see there is this this brick built separator or like partition, and you can think of this as maybe like a rolling metal garage door that's partially slid up. So they did a pretty good job making it look like that. I like the steps and how they built those with fence pieces on their side. And with the stairs here, they are pretty steep. They go straight up, and then nothing to look at on that one last side here. So let's go up a little bit here and go back around to the front and look at the second floor. So on the second floor, of course, there's the slats here. Really cool technique to put them in there. Basically, they're held in by these one by one plate clips. Let's see if we can pull one out without destroying the build. Let's see if I can get my fingers around one. So here I have kind of destroyed one piece, but so here's what it looks like. So it's like that, And then the back, you can see it's these little one by clips, and they're just clipped in place. There's a whole series of bars along the edges there that it clips into, so pretty well done. And then they've smartly put in windows so you can still see through, and you can imagine that that would be a really good way to diffuse the light. And then more lighting at the top, and then since we're up here, we can peek at the skylight, and you can see there's the skylight as well. All right, and then let's turn it around and go over to this side. You can see that there's some greenery. There's a portal window, like a portal style window. And then there's the electrical that's coming down and coming over to this electrical pole. And let's zoom out just a little bit. And you can see the pole, the build, it comes all the way from the ground, all the way up. It has maybe like a street lamp here. And it keeps on going. This is probably a transformer, and these are the power lines that go into this particular unit. And because this is so tall, when I first built it, it was leaning out. So it was leaning out this way towards the camera. And it was really driving me kind of nuts. I didn't like how that looked. So I went ahead and added some clips to the very top there. I don't know if you can see. I added a clip here that clips onto the roof. And then I put in some of my own tile pieces here so that it could snap in place and be held in place. So now it's completely vertical. Yeah, that's just kind of the freak that I am. And then let's take a look at the ducting, right? So pretty cool duct. It is built completely upside down in order to get that shaping. So you can see it looks pretty good. No exposed studs, goes straight up. And you can think of that as probably, yeah, exhaust ducting from the restaurant. And then there's a closer look at the gutter piping that goes all the way down. And another look at this different style of mini split. And some more window slats. Good use of these ladder pieces. It's 4 ladder pieces. And this entire ducting works as a hinge as well. So let me show you that. We're going to go ahead and open this up. Let's zoom out just a little bit and open it up and see how that looks. So it has a hinge on this side, and you just pull, and it's held in by one stud right there, and you can see the interior. And we'll start with the bottom. Take a closer look there. The bottom, you get a better look at that bun steamer, and then there is this white tank, or sorry, yellow tank here with a gauge next to it. And you can see the back of the display cases where you have access to those buns. And then the stairs actually go all the way through and take you all the way through up and into the unit. And this portion right here is a trans piece so that you can't fall through, but then the opening is on the other side, right on the other side there. The person can walk up and in. The first thing that greets them is that artwork right there that you see. Right there, some artwork. And then there is like a room with a nice design for a chair, and then a computer which has a blue screen. So blue monitor. It's got a suggestion of a keyboard sticking out. On the other side you can't really see, but there is a mouse and then a tower computer that's next to it. That's what that is. And then oops. There is a ladder that you can climb up. And then let's look up at the upper section. Let me see if I can raise the camera just a little bit. We'll get a better view. There we go. And in the upper living area, you can see that there is a bed with a pillow, these 2 little lime green pillows. That's a nice design for a bed. Feels very minimal, very Japanese. Maybe a plant next to it, maybe a vase or a lamp next to that. And then there is something on the ground here. Maybe that's supposed to be a cushion. And then all of this that you see along here is like a trans pieces. So again, that's just looks like a really nice place to spend time because everything's minimal, very clean, very orderly, very clean aesthetic in here. So they did a really cool job creating this interior. It looks like someplace you could enjoy being. Along that wall there is the inside part of a mini split. So that's the interior component that blows your cold air in. And along this side here is a like a bookcase, or maybe it's some sort of storage. And I really appreciate the way they did the build for this. So the way that they managed to put those pieces so close together is by using these hinge pieces. So they actually are these hinge pieces like that. And that's how you get this tiny bit of brown stripe in between them, is by using those hinge pieces. So, and then the very top one is a 1x2. So I've never seen that before, that particular technique. Really cool. And you can see with the floor, it is a dark tan floor, and they've layered them in a way where they look like they could be wood planks on that floor. And of course you can see the lighting. It's just a light string that's being strung through, and it comes up the stairs, around, and then it circles the ceiling a couple times before getting all the way up. And then you clip it to the ceiling. You can kind of see that it's being clipped there. But it actually does a circle of the ceiling like maybe twice. They just want to make sure there's plenty of light on that upper floor. And it really helps too, because then now the skylight has light coming from it. And then there's these two, I think these, you could think of these as fans on the very top too. All right, so let's close this back up. Zoom out. Closing it up can be a little tricky because it wants to come apart at the bottom here. I'll show you what I mean. So as I'm closing it up, this part right here tends to break off as I'm closing it. So I've got to reattach it here and push up just a bit. Okay, there we go. And then I can close it. And then it clips in pretty nicely there. And turn it back around. There you go. So that is the look. My thoughts are, I'm really impressed. This is probably a set that I will keep put together and enjoy. There really is nothing like this in my collection, and I rarely see things like this unless it's a custom mock. And it really does feel like a custom mock, except custom mocks typically have a lot of things that are just loose and sitting there. Like, you know, these chairs would have just been sitting there, but instead here they're actually clipped down to turntables, and it is a buildable, solid structure. And there's only a couple things that I think would be nice if it was a little more solid or stable, but for the most part, it's pretty cool. And it's compact, and it probably fit into your city modular really well if you're trying to create a city that has different flavor. Like, yeah, it might fit in even with an Ninjago city maybe. But yeah, it's got a lot of potential, and I really love the way that it looks. All right, so there's your look. I hope this was helpful. If you like this video, hit like, and if you could subscribe, that would mean a lot to me too. All right, thank you.